Okay, welcome back guys. In this tutorial we are going to be shooting our characters in our duck shoot game. So if you've got a game that looks like this, you're doing really well. You should have some kind of character moving across your screen that when you will press a button you will be able to shoot them when you point your sight at the character. Okay, so we haven't got that done yet, so we're going to look at that in this tutorial. So I'm just going to stop that. Just remember, when you stop it, all of your characters disappear. Don't worry, they will come back when you press the green flag. Now, what we do is we are going to check if our sprite is touching our, in my case, the balloon. So we'll be working on our balloon sprite, or the character that is being shot. So I'm on my balloon sprite, and the way you shoot is you're going to press a button, and if your character is touching the center of your target, the character will disappear. So the first thing I want to do is go to events, and we're going to use the when key press. So I want to go to when space key press. I'm going to leave it as space because that's going to be my fire button. And next we're going to check if it is touching the red from the center here. So I will need a control. So we're using the if. So there's my if, I attach that to my space, and we will need a sensing block to check if it's touching. So my sensing is touching color. So if touching, and now to get the red from the center of my target, I just make it a little bit larger. I click on the color here, then I click on the color dropper tool here, and then click on the center of my target, and that will get identical color. So it's checking if it's touching the red color here. If it is touching, it is going to fall down and then disappear. So it's going to repeat, basically moving on the y-axis downwards. So a bit like when we were moving on the x-axis, we're going to move on the y-axis, just like we had here. So again, I will need a repeat until. So my repeat until is here, and that goes inside my if block here. And then we're going to say, instead of greater than 220, that's here, we want less than. So we're going to use an operator. So I'm dragging my less than in here. Now, if you remember, minus y is down here, and the minus 120 is about here. So we want it to be minus 120. So we're looking at it to be less than minus 120. So less than minus 120 is down here. So we need to make sure it's gone on the y-axis. So we need to go to motion. And this time we need to go to the bottom and choose Y position. So it's going to repeat whatever's in here until it gets less than minus 120Y. So our repeat will be change Y each time. So we're going to be minusing Y each time. So minus 10, minus 20, minus 30, 40. So we move down until it gets less than minus 120. So we will need, in the motion, the change Y block. So there's the change Y block, and we are taking 10 off this time, so we'll need minus 10, and we put that into the mouth of the repeat until. So basically here it will say repeat taking 10 off until it gets less than minus 120. I know it's a little bit confusing. Less than 120 is minus 125. So that will go down, 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 down until it's got to less than 120. Once it gets to less than 120, it jumps out of the loop and goes into here. And in here, we need to tell it to hide, because once it gets that far, it will disappear. So I'm going to go to looks and then choose the hide block. Now the hide block, just be careful here, goes after the repeat until, but inside the if. So let's try that now. So when I press the green flag, I'll just make that bigger. When I press the green flag and press start, my balloons go down to disappear. Superb. Now, what I want to do also is I want to keep a count of how many balloons I've shot. So to do that, I'm going to create a variable. So my variable is going to be called hits. So a variable is going to store hit score. So I go to variables and I click on make a variable and I'm going to call it hits. And I'm leave it for all sprites, then click on OK. And there you go. So I've got my variable created here. Now the first thing I want to do is when my game starts, I need to make sure I start with 0 hits. So I'm going to set my hits to 0 at the start of the game. So on my balloon variable, just after when I receive start game, so basically my game is starting, my hits will be set to 0. And then every time I shoot a balloon, my hits are going to increment by 1. That means go up by 1. So I would change my hits by 1. That's the block under variables. And it's change hits by 1. And that will go at the point your sight touches your character or your balloon. And that is just after the if starts here. So if it touches the red, the centre of the sight is touching my balloon, it changes my hits by 1. So let me try that now. Just make my screen a bit bigger. Press my green flag and then press my start button, and you'll see every time I hit a balloon, my score goes upwards. Okay, I'm just going to stop that now and I'm going to minimize my stage so you can see the code from this week's tutorial. So that's what we've created here. We've used the if block to check if my balloon is touching the center of my target, the red color. If it is, it changes my hit variable by 1 and it moves my balloon on the y-axis -10 all the way down until it gets to less than -120. When it does, it goes to the hide and the balloon disappears. Okay, and that is the end of this week's tutorial, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care till then. Bye bye.